I started my first company in 99 and then 2000 bubble burst. I started my second company in '07 and then we had the '08 crisis. So I've built both of my companies starting at the end of a bubble and building them through the bust cycles. The next time I try to start a company, I run for the hills. The interesting thing that I have learned through those experiences that things actually get a little bit easier when that happens in some ways. When I started Yodlee, not unlike today, we actually had engineers being given BMWs as sign-on bonuses. It was almost impossible to hire anyone. This was back in 99. And when the 2000 bubble burst, we thankfully were one of the few well-funded companies at the time. What we ended up doing very quickly is taking drastic and maybe significant steps. I, in fact, still remember I had an argument with my board at the time on why we're actually cutting as much as we are. I even said, hey, you guys invested in this thesis like 6 months ago. What's changed? Why would you go change everything about this business 6 months later? A lot of them actually took the time to explain to me exactly how they were thinking about this and why they were doing it. I had very reluctantly agreed to go do what we did, which included cutting. We actually even refocused the company from being a B2C business into being more of a B2B2C business. All of those things happened as a reaction to the bubble bursting. And those things actually set us up to be in a good place for 2 to 3 years after. So we did run out of money very quickly. We made what we had last longer. But when we did last longer, what I learned is that suddenly you didn't have to give BMWs to the best engineers to be able to hire them. A lot of the companies that were founded by what I call tourist founders, there's a lot of founders that actually will do it because it is fashionable, because it's easy to raise money, because it's easy to get started. People that are not really passionate about the idea somehow, but really love the idea of starting and running their own business. All of those fall away. They tend to grow very rapidly when you actually end up having a boom, and they also shrink very rapidly when there's a bust. So the bust times I found are actually great times to build businesses because the noise is lower, but it is harder. So it needs more grit. You need to stand longer. You need to work harder to be able to raise the money to keep the companies funded. There are hard decisions to be made. I've actually taken some hits. I recapped one of my companies. Yodlee actually did get recapped before we went public. I actually did take a little bit of a down round on my second company in order to keep it funded. There are difficult decisions to be made, but if you're passionate enough about the business that you're building, I think the downturn can actually be a relatively great time to actually continue to building your business.